Breaking news.
What's that?
Chris Godwin back to the Bucs.
Ay, Chihuahua.
$66 million, chance to make 24, deal by done, 44 guaranteed at signing.
Deal done by Tory Dandy. That's his agent. That's got to be the agent.
Okay, so Ian Rappaport, though, $66 million, 44 guaranteed, 3-year deal. So Godwin, just as we're talking about it, back with the Bucs.
And $22 million. Okay, so hang on, but we had heard Giardi said he's going to make $25 million on the market. He didn't get that. He's staying in Tampa.
They should have offered him $25 million.
So no Davante Adams, no DK Metcalf. Phil Perry says it's Chris Godwin or bust at wide receiver. Turns out it's bust. He's back to Tampa. 3 years, $66 million. I have more bad news, Keefe. Don't you dare blame the Wolfpack.
Come on, Wolf, do something.
I have more bad news.
Do something.
More bad news.
I don't want to hear it.
Offensive linemen that they were linked to. They were linked to Dan Moore in Pittsburgh. They were linked to Cam Robinson of the Minnesota Vikings, who was coached at one point in time by the new offensive line coach here when he was in Jacksonville, Doug Marrone. Offensive tackle Jalen Moore, formerly of the 49ers, has signed with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Not great, Bob.
What's happening?
2 years, $30 million, $21 million guaranteed. That's according to Adam Schefter, NFL Insider.
They're not going to have 53 guys.
No, I'm just kidding. So that's an offensive line target off the board and Chris Godwin off the board. You guys can weigh in all day long. 617-779-7937. Godwin back to the Bucs on what seems like a very reasonable deal. Does that tell you he was just never going to leave Tampa Bay? And the Patriots had no real shot?
Well, that'd be the spin for the Patriots.
Well, no, but I don't want
a positive spin for the Patriots.
But here's how I'm not letting them off the hook. Did they get hung up on a guy who was never going to leave? Like, in other words, did they waste their time on a guy who was never going to leave Tampa Bay?
Didn't read the room?
Yeah. And
maybe.
now, because they were so gung-ho about maybe getting Godwin, they missed out on Metcalf and Davante. They were focused on the wrong place, in other words. Or do you just think they knew Godwin was going back the whole time? Interest Kings, they're the new Red Sox, blah, blah, blah.
There could be some of that. The Interest Kings, they were in it. They sound like, oh, well, we're going to be aggressive on him because for the last month, you and I have been talking about all these names, and did we really think Ronnie Stanley was really going to leave? You did more than I didn't.
I didn't think Godwin was going to leave. I thought Stanley would.
So we were flipped on that, right? I thought maybe Godwin could,
and I didn't think Higgins would.
Right. So these guys are kind of staying put. They're all on better teams. They are all on better teams. And for Godwin, he's in Florida. He's got a really good quarterback, and that's a team that is a playoff team. So he's like, why am I going to leave? If the money was acceptable to him, I wonder how much more the Patriots would have had to go, or did they go? I guess we don't know the answer to that. But because you would probably need to not this is a true hometown discount, but how much more of the quote unquote suck tax would the Pats have to offer a guy like Godwin who's never left Tampa Bay?
Well, Chad Kraft,
he
had the tweet earlier today. R.I.P. Twitter. He had the tweet earlier today where he said he listed off all the different things that was holding the Patriots back from free agency and signing free agents. Patriots, they're not going to get any free agents. Nobody wants to sign here because
doesn't seem like it.
They don't want to play in cold weather. They don't want to play an hour outside of Boston. The NFLPA survey was bad on top of it. It's a rebuilding team. There was another item on there.
NFLPA.
Right. And he said at one point, now, there is a way around it. The Patriots can just throw a buttload of money at these players.
Yeah.
But Godwin never got to market. Ronnie Stanley never got to market. Those are two names you heard they had high on their list. Either the Patriots knew they weren't going to get to market and they were playing the interest game just to create buzz and try to show they were in on somebody, or they were chasing their tails, hung up on players that were never going to get to market, and they wasted their time because they were focused on the wrong guys, the guys that they were never going to get.
Well, this is also
Either one's bad.
No, it is. But this is also why DK Metcalf and Deebo Samuel should have both been more of a priority because you take the decision out of their hands. Because right now, Patriots versus Team X, you're going to be hard-pressed to win that.
Yep.
We've had back-to-back 4-win seasons. We're going to have 3 coaches in 3 years. We like the quarterback, but it's a young quarterback in the same division as the Bills. All this stuff working up against you. The taxes in Massachusetts, all the stuff that you want to kind of throw on there. But DK Metcalf and Deebo Samuel, if you trade for them, then you get them, and then at that point you have to convince them. And whether you throw them more money or you just convince them, what was the whole thing? Compensation and opportunity.
Yep.
Hey, you're the number one receiver, and here's the compensation. If DK Metcalf's playing for the Steelers, he probably would have played for the Patriots too.
That's what I think, yeah.
You couldn't say, hey, we don't need to call the Niners or the Seahawks because we're going to be aggressive for Chris Godwin. Well, what if he doesn't really want to leave, and what if the Bucs give him a fair offer?
Are we going to do this? Text line 617-779-7937. Godwin just benefits from playing with Mike Evans.
Good Lord.
Okay, so now Godwin sucks.
So you don't want Godwin. So you don't want DK Metcalf.
DK Metcalf sucks. Davante Adams sucks.
Who do you
want? T. Higgins isn't a number one, which I've been guilty of saying. And Godwin just benefits from Mike Evans. So who's your guy?
Chris Godwin would be so far and away the best receiver on this team. It's not even funny. Like
he would be.
It's not competitive. He would be excellent here.
Okay. Here's where we're at in free agency. Chris Godwin, if you're just tuning in, 3 years, $66 million according to Rap Sheet. He's back with the Bucs. Jalen Moore, who you might not be familiar with, he was a backup tackle in San Francisco.
Sorry, I don't go that deep.
He's getting $30 million from the Chiefs to play offensive line in Kansas City. Hassan Reddick has also signed a 1-year deal with Tampa. We're just into legal tampering. It began about 15 minutes ago. I think those are all the moves that I've seen to this point.
Yeah, the Bucs are busy.
Florio's top 100 of free agents. Higgins, gone. Darnold, available.
Great.
Trey Smith, gone. Josh Sweat, available.
Yeah, but...
one or two legs.
Right.
Chris Godwin.
Which version of Sweat are we getting?
Chris Godwin, number 5 on the list, gone.
Yeah.
Ronnie Stanley, number 6 on the list, gone. DJ Reed, Javon Holland, 7 and 8 still available. Nick Bolton, Osa Odigizua, gone. If you want to go to 11 and 12, Justin Reed available. Khalil Mack, gone.
So the other thing, and beggars can't be choosers. The Patriots have a million needs.
Yep.
So the first signing they had was Harold Landry, who we both like, and that's fine.
I like him. Where did Landry fit in on this list? Keep going. Sorry.
Top 25, I would imagine. Yeah, who knows? Keep scrolling. But some of those other names, like if they start to beef up the defense, and the defense needed the help, this goes back to, all right, your second-year quarterback, how have you helped him? Nothing on the offensive line, nothing at wide receiver, not even a running back or a tight end. Now you're putting it all on the draft. Last year, Elliott Wolf drafted all offensive players, I mean, including Drake May.
Yep.
And then this year, you're almost going to be forced into that same thing again. So, like, I'll take the defensive guys. They need to make that side of the ball a lot better, obviously. But, man, it's going to be tough to get excited about the offseason if they're not bringing in anybody on offense.
Okay.
Got no food, got no jobs. Our pets' heads are falling off.
Okay, so on Florio's list, if we want to skip down, the top tackle is Cam Robinson at 17. The top wide receiver, you said the name earlier, Keefe, but it's not great. The top wide receiver is Amari Cooper. And where did he go? I just had him up. But Amari Cooper will be next on that list.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a guy who was a tackle who's been passed around the league in Cam Robinson.
He's the Chooks Okorafor of 2025.
Amari Cooper is 37 on the list. He would be next up. Milton Williams, also shockingly low on that list. He's 30th. I've seen him top 10-ish on a lot of other lists.
Wow, that's real low.
So that's where, again, Florio has him. That's just the list I'm choosing to use.
Take him.
But you can seek out whichever one you want. 617-779-7937. All your thoughts on the Patriots, their start to legal tampering in NFL free agency. Bob's in Londonderry. Hello, Bob.
Hey, guys. How you doing? Enjoy the show.
Thank you.
I was just curious. I'm not really the expert by any stretch, but what happens if ultimately, like we've seen the last several years, and I know you guys keep saying if you pay enough, people will come here. That really hasn't been the case. And given all the problems the Patriots have, I know they've made some improvements, coaching, so-called. What are they going to do if they really don't get anybody that's of any significance? What's going to happen now?
Well, they're going to suck again, Bob. And I would just say, and thanks for the phone call, I would just say, I don't know if we know how many times they really have paid the most. Just this is the same thing. We're not going to. Do you really think the Red Sox paid the most on all those guys that they missed? Or are they, just so close? Hey, they Juan Soto, just so close. Seth Lugo, so close. Jose Abreu. So the Patriots, the one thing that came out last year after like all kinds of like pulling teeth on it was Brandon Ayuk. They apparently did have a really big offer on the table for Brandon Ayuk, and he didn't choose it. But all these other ones, like they didn't have the highest offer for Calvin Ridley, and they didn't get him. And so if you want to say they have to pay even a little bit more because of the state tax and all that stuff, all right, fine. That's what they're going to have to do. Have they ever done that? How many times over the last 3 years did a player sit there and after taxes and all this other nonsense did they say the Patriots offer was higher than the one that they took?
Yeah, not often.
I don't think so.
And, when it comes to the Patriots and free agency, it doesn't mean they're going to be terrible next year just because they don't land a bunch of players. We brought up the Commanders earlier. The Commanders are mostly dumpster diving for Austin Eckler and Zach Ertz, and I probably mock those moves when they happen. You made the point they already have McLaurin, which is more than the Patriots have. But, Bobby Wagner and these kind of savvy moves from the Commanders, you can still make it work with mid and low tier free agents. The Patriots did it in 2001, for God's sake. So you can do that. But this is not exactly what we were sold. And exactly what we were expecting. We were expecting for them to be aggressive. And maybe they will be. They still have time before free agency officially begins at 4 o'clock on Wednesday. But so far, outside of Harold Landry, I would say decidedly not aggressive, or at least not successful in terms of landing anybody. Barry's in New Bedford. Hello, Barry.
Hey guys, I don't think I knew they were getting Stanley, and when he signed on Saturday, I just started laughing because I knew the way this is going to play out. Then you read the Landry contract; they busted his balls on that. They were cheap on that, and then Godwin.
I'm sorry, Barry, just real quick. When you say they busted his balls on that, he just came in lower than you expected, or is there actual reporting that?
I think the money's, from what I understand, the money's not what you think it is.
No, it's lower than I thought he was going to get for sure. But I didn't read anything that they were haggling and having hard negotiations.
I think the toughest thing with them right now is it's not the coach or the quarterback. It's you haven't won in 5 years. You have a history of being kind of cheap, and then your facilities are probably the worst in the league. The 1970s Gold's Gym, the prop planes with the ashtrays. It's kind of hard to sell that to people,
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens next, but they're going to have to build a middle class of their roster up first.
Okay. Well, look, there's going to be opportunity to do that. And I agree they have a ton of needs. Keith, you said this earlier. Ton of needs. Up and down the roster. All over the place. And so, yeah, they can sign a lot of guys. And they don't have to do it today. They don't have to do it right this second. But I think people would be a lot less panicky, and they'd be a lot happier if you did. That doesn't have to be at the top of their list. But I think that's where the fan base is at. They were excited for this moment, and so far, Patriots aren't doing much. Although, in fairness, what is it, like 3-4 moves around the league right now?
Yeah, and then I'm trying to track this down, but it sounds like Ian Rappaport, and I know Twitter's down, much to the chagrin of Adam Jones. But,
who could use it on a day like
that?
But
I think Rapp also said that Godwin turned down more money.
I saw this. Well, I saw he turned
from
down.
a team. Didn't say which team.
I saw on the text line a mystery team.
So could be the Patriots.
Could be.
Maybe not. Maybe not. But yeah, that's the thing. That's the guy who's played for one team, wanted to be there. They even had the thing. Remember, they moved the date around for the deadline and stuff. So they clearly wanted to get a deal done.
Look, he was a done deal back to the Bucs. Yeah, he wasn't. The Patriots wasted their time on Godwin just like they wasted their time on Ronnie Stanley. And I was guilty of Stanley. I thought there was a chance Stanley was going to leave, and he didn't. So the Patriots, at best, wasted their time thinking they were going to land real free agents. At worst, if you don't want to be charitable and give them the benefit of the doubt, they drummed up interest on players they knew they weren't going to get just to satiate a rabid fan base. But that would be very short-sighted on their end because that's going to come back around.